Right, how are we doing everybody? Welcome to Russell Heritage Golf. It's nice to be back here, back at 4 Ashes, back using the simulator as well. And first things first, it's kind of been a couple of months since I hit a golf ball, and if there's anybody out there wondering, 100% it's going to take you some time to get back to that sort of level of coordination before you're going to notice that you're able to hit a pretty straight looking shot and pretty well hit as well. So that's been a resounding with the people that I've been speaking to at the range, but also with online. So you're not in that boat on your own. Today we're talking driver. The reason why, well, obviously you're going to be wanting to get back out on the golf course, and nothing massively changes essentially between the driver and the iron, but got a kind of like a nice feeling that's working really well with a lot of people that I've been working online with the driver, and I'm going to share it with you guys as well. Where we are in the golf swing when it comes to hitting the driver is that we know that the hit itself needs to be shallower, which basically means that the club needs to be rising, shall we say, coming in towards the collision to give you the best sort of results. So the way that we do this sort of rising sensation is that we move the location of the ball, so the ball lives more opposite the left ankle. This kind of encourages a subtle tilt, and if it doesn't, you just need to feel like your shoulders are ever so slightly tilted in the address position as well. So the right one would be slightly lower than the left one. The likelihood is that will happen anyway, due to the movement of the ball going further forward. How much? Well, experiment, right? Everybody's going to swing slightly differently and everyone's going to release the club slightly differently, so you just have to experiment as to where you get your best results, whether you move it further forward or whether you keep it just left of centre. Where we are though, the big thing that you have to do with the driver is that you have to get behind the golf ball, and what I mean by this is make sure that you're rotating behind the ball in the backswing position, so you're essentially achieving at least a nice, well I say at least, you have to achieve a 90 degrees worth of shoulder rotation in the backswing, because this is going to have a massive effect basically on your ability in the downswing to bring the arms down at a nice wide angle to again help this sort of upward hitting when it comes to hitting the driver. So that's a must. The sort of feel that we basically want to have is a backswing feel. Okay, so we get set up, we've got our little bit of tilt, we're achieving our sort of 90 degrees worth of rotation, but before we reach the climax of the shoulder rotation, we also want to feel like the right hip is making its way back in towards the center of the stance. And what this will do is this will just help that sort of sense of falling and transitioning the golf swing, because you want to rotate, right? That's 100% what we want to do. We want to make sure that we get this feeling like we are moving the upper body in a rotational manner and the lower body in a rotational manner through that hitting area. We don't necessarily want to hit the driver and stop all rotation and just hit it with the hands and the arms. But what we obviously need to negate is that we don't want to swing back and then start the downswing with a really vertical spine angle, because that's going to obviously have an adverse effect on the steepening nature of the club shaft. So the way that we stop that is, like I said, we have to get the right hip before we reach the conclusion of the backswing, moving back in towards the center of the stance. And what this does is that just helps that sense of falling, and once you feel that right hip moving back before you reach the climax, and then it will just give you this sort of feeling of recentering, then you can go with the rotation. That's massively going to help you out. So it's going to stop those golfers that worry very much about swinging over the top. And it's also going to help those golfers that feel like the only way they can hit the driver is getting stuck and caught underneath, and then you just end up being plagued with hooks and draws. So the sequence is, or a great drill, put the club across your shoulders, swing back, but before you reach the 90 degree shoulder rotation, get the right hip moving back in towards the center of the stance. And what this is going to do is this is just going to then help you get that feeling of almost just wait for that fall, and then you can start to rotate coming in towards that hitting area. So that's what you'd want to do. And what we're going to be talking about in the upcoming videos is very much about a pre-shot routine. But that is a great feeling for the driver. It's going to help you with that club path and that angle of attack and give you much better results. So hopefully you enjoy the video. You know what to work on. Work on that drill. It's a really, really important thing. Catch you with you guys again soon.